Hey everyone,
It's Chad Church,
and Nikolai Phelan.
and we are excited to bring to you our brand new podcast,
Hullabaloo. A cross-generational
media consumption podcast
where two gay men
from different generations
watch movies,
read books
listen to music, and more,
to bridge Gen X
and Gen Z. I thought that was pretty good.
Let's do another take.
Hi everybody. This is I'm laughing and it's not funny, but welcome to Hullabaloo. I'm Nico.
And I'm Chad Church.
And you're catching us kind of hitting the record button because we were just actually talking about everything that's happening right now in America and how psychically harming it is.
And we're still probably not talking about enough of what's happening in America.
I think it's because the talking sometimes feels like, one of the things that I'll say, there was a moment with with one of my relationships, which I think I talked to you about, where I'd realized that the talking wasn't the answer, that we could talk together in circles. Talking was something that was fun for us, but it wasn't effective. It was action. It was space. It had to be physical. It had to be in the real world. It couldn't be in the realm of ideas.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I think sometimes, when we're thinking about these things and we're hearing this information about this 5-year-old being put in ice, it's like, what action can we take? That's the thing we have to ask. Is there something you can do today? Is there somebody you can call? Is there general strike? The general strike is a really successful form of action. And I saw a content creator posting about it going, I'm seeing people saying, I can't participate in a general strike. Well, what can you participate in? Stop it with the fucking excuses. I'm cussing
Or
already, but
they're saying nothing at all.
right.
I mean, I have friends that friends, acquaintances, people I've known for decades upon decades upon decades, who I know where they are in their heart. I know who they are as a person. But what they got taught in the third fucking grade about, well, don't talk about politics and don't talk about religion is what is fucking us up right now, because the people, 40% of the people that are part of the 60% that don't want this shit going on, whether it be ICE, whether it be still not having dealt with, the secret documents in the fucking bathroom in the bottom of his, hotel home or whatever.
Right.
I mean, there's just so much of it every fucking day, and they don't want to talk about it because it's not polite, or they don't want to deal with it because it's so much, it depresses them, it ox their vibe, and it's just fucking time.
We need courage. We need to start summoning courage. We need to summon courage within ourselves. We need to summon courage within the people we love. We need to stop accepting excuses. We need to not give excuses to ourselves. Whatever we call out in others, we must call upon ourselves. It is acceptable to be a hypocrite in the day-to-day, but in the long arc, one must be reflecting and recognizing that you have to be about it. You have to be about the things you say, but say something if you're not doing something yet. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
If you need to catch up to the doing, at least say. And if
yeah,
you're afraid to speak, look to others, find how to use your voice, find how to be effective. We are all a part of this. And it is a disgrace. It is a disgrace that so many people we like I think there's just a collective grieving for the people who are being courageous to have to look over to their left and right and going, it's very et tu Judas, you know? Or is it
Mhm.
et tu Brutus? Is it et tu Brutus? It might Judas.
Just Judas is the one that was the shitty one.
Judas is the backstabber, but et tu Brutus is something else, no?
Okay, I don't know. I think you know better than me.
I actually don't. Okay, let's see. Let me check. It's et tu Brutus.
Okay, and
Because
who was
Brutus, I
Brutus?
think, Brutus was his friend. This is the betrayal by a friend.
Okay,
Yeah.
you know?
Because that's
Well,
because that's not about Jesus. Wait a second. Okay. It's about Julius Caesar.
yeah.
Et tu Brutus is Julius
Oh,
Caesar. Yeah. And Judas is Jesus.
alright, there we go. It's like Iceland and Greenland. They're so
Yeah.
easy to get confused.
Straight up. The only thing that's beautiful the one thing that's given me any reprieve has been that he did back down from fucking Greenland because that was just and there was a
Was it
comic.
there? Are you sure? Because I was kinda choking the water and
It was hell, and it's it's so just there was a comedian at a stand-up comedy who was just going his whole bit was like, "Can care about these things, but maybe I can't care about Greenland." And I just was there just like, "God, fuck it, just shut up." Just I listen, I do stand-up comedy, I do edgy stuff, don't get me wrong, you know? I don't mind a dark joke, but actually, Greenland should concern all of us.
yeah,
Do you know what I
yeah.
mean? It does matter. First off, they're indigenous people. Second, they are,
God
they
knows
they
you want
deserve
both.
they
Nah.
Donna, it's all just so disgusting and disgraceful. It's so much, but the point is, and this is what we were saying before, and we were getting back to, is that psychically, this stuff is meant to harm us. The evil that people are perpetrating against their neighbors, like these ICE agents, first off, they're not recruiting as many people as they thought they would.
Mhm, mhm,
It's actually is seen as deplorable.
mhm,
And I
mhm.
think a big part of that is because there is some psychic knowledge that at some point, anybody who participates is going to get caught.
Yeah.
The Nuremberg trials existed before social media. So this
Mhm.
is going to be it's going to be a different kind of tribunal, you know?
You know what I find about this is even this very conversation is emblematic of what we go through day to day. We started this podcast as an opportunity to be not necessarily in the zone that we're in right now, that you are in right now. And it is and I understand where people come from when they are tired of this, because fucking everybody is that
Right.
can fog a mirror, but once again, even in our attempts to to, um to, uh to not be here in this second, in this moment, we are here, and
Right.
we are paying attention, and we have to be, right? Because if we're not here, then this thing just rolls right on over us,
It's
and the
improvisation, baby, you know?
so I understand how hurt people are, how tired people are, and I understand how people don't want to talk. I was saying earlier, we started this because of it has to be said,
Right.
and I had said a minute ago that I I understand that people are tired of it, and I understand that people don't wanna talk politics or religion because it's just not right. Save that fucking shit for the boomers. You know, I mean,
Right.
honestly, save that shit for the boomers because the Generation X's and the Generation Z's and even the millennials, you know, I care about y'all, but I don't know. We don't want. I know that Generation X is standing hard about this, though the larger part of us, and
Right.
I know the Generation Z is like, wait a minute, fuck this, you know?
Right.
So I just, and I guess I just feel like the millennials are just kind of lost in the middle of, you know, we don't won the soccer game, don't
Are
really
they are is there, like, some, like, statistic that's saying that the millennials aren't showing up?
no, not that I can quote at all, not that I can quote at
Okay.
all. This is a personal view of, how I feel about this. I actually was really excited when you and I decided to do this because I do feel like there's more connectivity, and awareness within our generations than I do millennials. Someone would have to provide me with a study that says different.
Well, I guess it probably makes sense because your generation raised the millennials. So
Mhm,
you're always I think the previous generation is always alienated by that which follows them
mhm,
because they don't because by nature of being the paternal figure to the youth in that experience, I think it creates a feeling of a kind of, I don't know what you kids are about. But then when you become, it's like, it's kind of like grandpa and the grandma get to be really close with the kids, but the parents and the children always have a different dynamic. I
mhm,
think there's something in the dynamics of generations that probably has something similar as well. I
mhm.
think I think I really don't know, like, who's showing up. I can't really offer any criticism of any specific generations because I think actually it's across the board, like, this is a siren call to us all to figure out ways of showing up,
Yep.
you know? I have a small group of friends, and I recently had a TikTok that kinda went it didn't go viral, but it went micro viral because of, a confrontation I had in a cafe with some Zionists. And for some background information, I'm Jewish, right? Like, I was raised Jewish, I was essentially baptized Jewish, I'm culturally Jewish, Russian, not so religious, but my mom's side of the family is all Jewish. And so I I experienced a lot of the programming that, you know, made people believe that makes the older generations of Jewish people believe that what Israel is doing is justified. It's not. I woke up. I had to do the work. I had to listen to people I loved who had different views than me. I didn't push those people away. When people are coming to you and what happened in this cafe, just to recant briefly, is essentially I heard some people online, not online, in the cafe, these Zionists, basically going, you know, um, "I don't understand why people put free Palestine in their bio. I don't know why they post it." And I go and I'm putting my head in my hands going, "Don't say anything. Like, don't get involved," but they're talking really loud, and I was like "Okay, okay, okay." The guy goes, "I'm from Israel," and they don't know what they're talking about. They don't even know that they're supporting terrorists. And I'm like, and these people are talking so loud. It's a quiet cafe. It's Cafe Monzo. It's beautiful. It's really great for working. I'm there to work. And finally, she goes, I don't want to see all this dark stuff on social media. I want to see cupcakes. I want to see cats. I want to just see lovely stuff. People not literally like me too. I go,
It's
fucking
like, yeah, we
sh
all do. So if you fucking do your business right, we can get back to the fucking
Right,
Kardashians.
exactly. I'm sorry that you're seeing like the world reflected back to you? Is it making you uncomfortable that the country that you're supporting is bombing children? I think that your anger is misplaced. And
Right?
so I go over and I tap them on the shoulder and I say, because actually, so what I did is first is this. I said, I called on my ancestors. I said, Grandpa, I go, I don't know what to do. I go, head, I'm going to flip a coin. If it's heads, I'll do it. If it's tails, I'm going to take my stuff. I'm going to go. I flip a coin, it's heads. I go, okay, let's go. I go
It's
over to him. I
on.
go, it's on. I just grabbed my things. I said, hi, I just want to introduce myself. My name is Nikolai Phelan, and I wanted to let you know that I'm Jewish and I overheard you speaking. And I wanted to let you know that I understand the perspective that you currently hold, but I want you to know that you're about 2 years late and
Right?
that as much as you think people should mind their own business and not post Palestinian flags in their bio because it's too much and it bothers you that they have opinions on things that you think they shouldn't have opinions on. I actually think that genocide concerns us all. And that it's really important that we all get involved because guess what? These systems of imperialism and these systems and structures that are able to enact genocides upon other people are entirely dependent on our complacency and silence in order to do so. So, what I want you to understand is that while I understand that perspective you may hold, you're wrong. And it's important you wake up for your own humanity. The guy looks at me and he says, I don't care if you're Jewish. I'm from Israel and you don't know what you're talking about. And I looked at him and I said, oh, you're from Israel? Did you serve? And he looks at me and he goes, yeah. And I go, so are you a war criminal? And he goes, no, I'm not. And I go, but you know war criminals. Jaws. Everybody's jaws, like they're gagged. These people are gagged. And I go, and then he starts to try to poke holes in my argument. He goes, well, you just said this, and he's trying to come for me. No, no, no. Listen, I already said what I needed to say. I spoke my piece. I'm not going to have an argument with somebody who doesn't want to hear what I have to say. However, I will leave you with this. That it doesn't matter how much nuance or complexity you want to bring to the situation. As it stands, there's a line in the sand. Okay. And unfortunately, it's been crossed, and goodness is on one side of the line, and you're on the wrong side of history. I hope that you'll wake up and get to the right. 1 second, my food is here. Fucking crazy thing. Crazy, crazy, crazy way to end that. My God. So, okay, so just to finish it out, after I said that, mm, uh, I went to my table and I sat down and I kept working because I was like, I'm not gonna leave. I'm not gonna say that and leave. I'm gonna do what I came here to do.
Yeah.
Mic drop.
Hey, everybody. I'm coming at you to let you know that I'm performing my show, Fever Dream TV, in New York City in the month of April. Yeah, Fever Dream TV and NYC. I'm going to be doing 5 performances at the Wild Project as part of the New York City Fringe. Those dates will be April 4th, April 11th, April 12th, April 16th, and April 17th. You can get tickets at frigid.nyc or the link in my bio. See you there.
The door wouldn't open and he was like banging, banging, banging. I'm like, girl, chill out.
More of that overexcited fucking, my day is more important than yours now, and I'm mad.
Yeah, so it's so intense. So yeah, that was my thing. I think
Mhm.
well, you know what was interesting about like the TikTok um was that there were a lot of people who thanked me. So it ended up getting 200,000 views and there were like 50,000 likes, but like I don't know how many like comments, like 4,000 or something. But everybody just kept saying thank you for using your voice.
Yeah.
And it was so funny to me because in that moment, it was just so like a protrude like, do you know how, like, a moment protrudes? Does that make sense? Where it kinda like you're living your life and
Yeah.
something's happening that just comes in,
Mhm.
where you're like
Mhm.
where you're like your head just kinda has to turn towards it and be like, "I
Mhm.
have to do something." And it was
Mhm.
and people were really appreciative that they were like, "I'm glad that you're Jewish, that you used your voice. I'm glad that you expressed yourself so eloquently, and I'm glad you stayed,"
Yep.
were
Yep.
the 3 things they said because they were like, you know, I think that the idea being like, we need to get comfortable with getting uncomfortable. You know?
Mhm.
It's speaking to something. We need to be able to go out there into the world and say, "Guess what? It's time. This is wrong. This concerns all of us. Let's stand up for something." Like, and really love each other for it
Mhm.
and cheer each other on. Like, we need to cheer on our Luigi Mangiones, you know what I mean?
Yeah. The fuck damn straight, you
All the
know?
way down the you know, the pipeline. Maybe not so extreme, but just the
Yeah,
point
yeah.
is
And
we
now
need
you know
that.
what's gonna happen? And now someone's gonna say, "Oh, and you're talking about Luigi Mangione and you know, and you're saying that killing people is okay." No, we're not saying
Right,
that's
we're
the
not.
thing. We're saying that, like, we can see 100% why this guy had the feelings he had and went with things the way he did. And
Right,
I will take it up for us. I will take it up a notch and say, from a guy that had to grow up in a situation where, like, some shit would jump off and I would respond to it. And then at the end of the day, I would be the bad guy. I learned this lesson about, you know what? You better be ready to duke up when you need to,
right,
and so I'm duking up here because if someone's gonna flush my head in the toilet or if someone's gonna, call me nigger or whatever, then
right.
I'm gonna come right back at you as hard as you came at me, and they'll defend this seven-year-old in the White House for a seven-year-old 79-year-old in the
Mhm.
White House for duking back and stuff. But when we say, okay, we had enough because we were the snowflakes, well, now we're fucking melted and we're steaming hot water and it's coming
Right.
right at you in the face. All of a sudden, we're about hate. No, we're not about
It's
hate.
all lies.
Yeah.
I think we have to it's just like the cruelty, like the parade of it's like, that seesaw prison, right, in El
Mm-hmm.
Salvador.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's a parade of performance of the most violent, horrific imagery, but it's a performance of it. It's a parade of it. There's a creativity to trying to express this evil,
This
and
Nico,
it's
it's how they present themselves too, you know what I mean? They present themselves as performers, you know?
yeah.
Sorry, and I didn't mean to cut you off, but
No, no, no. No, I think no, 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 you've never I we know that this
you
podcast is tilted, unfortunately, towards my dominating voice.
I'm just taking my time back. I want my 2 minutes, you know?
Get your 2 minutes, girl. No, but you're right, they are performers, and
You know?
it's just, it's just so hard to reconcile that maybe we were born to, like should we do just to say this, should we just keep going on this for 1 hour, and then we could do a different one for the other one?
I think so, because I think
You
that
know?
time-wise, originally we were gonna do, our movie of the week, and, which I finally watched last night. I was
Did
out
you like it, though?
I did not like it. I I I I did not like it. I just we're gonna make a decision. We're gonna go there, and we're
Okay,
gonna
we'll
do.
we'll talk about it on the other one. Did you think it was funny?
I I'm
You
not.
didn't think it was funny?
I didn't.
Oh, okay, okay.
I didn't think it wasn't funny, but like funny for me really has to have me rolling in my seat.
I was
The,
crying laughing. It is one of the funniest movies I've ever seen. Yeah.
all right, so are we gonna leave this as a tease for
Yeah,
our next
we'll
show?
leave it. We'll leave it. It will be a full-on debate.
Okay, okay.
I worry for you because I'm like, you're gonna like audiences are gonna be like, Chad stays. So man. Okay, okay. We're gonna do this. Let's continue on this. So
Yeah.
let me
I
close my
think
door.
okay.
Let me close my door 1 second.
Good, good.
We'll get into that on the next one. No worries. So back to this. So there's this parade of cruel imagery that is being used, I think, as a way of psychically imposing violence in the collective imagination to amass power and give to convince people to give away their power early.
Well, this is how authoritarian governments do their deal, right?
Right.
They intimidate people into sitting down and not standing up because of the fear that they install in them or instill in them before anything has even happened.
Right.
And obviously the disinformation, the misinformation, and so forth. And I think right now, what we're more where the responsibility of people lays is in actually understanding that this is no longer, you know, your grandfather's Oldsmobile. The bottom line is that, yeah, it's a pain in the ass to be aware about what's going on, requires you to commit to, yeah, I'm going to watch this news that depresses me. Also
Hmm.
requires you to commit to, for my own self health, that there's time where I have to turn off the doom scroll.
Right.
And so now it's not just like, "Oh, well, I don't know, I'm really into saving dogs and that's my thing, and I know I can't put my energy in other places because that's I'm so busy with that."
Right.
Now we're required to fucking, yep, you got a part-time job in this, and it's, you know, living your regular life, but then
Right.
you also need to be aware of all these things are going on. And now that you've done that, it's a real bummer. But the third layer here is that you have to act in some way. And it doesn't have to be, I'm not saying everybody should go out and they have to march in the streets. God knows they now shoot white women in cars in Minnesota for doing that.
Well, queer
And
white women.
yeah, well, yeah, that
This is so nasty. This is the thing. It's like they're like digging through, like they're digging desperately to figure out what's a way of making sure they paint this person on the other side. And it's yeah, we're experiencing just the like utter depravity, and um it's I think the word that comes to mind for me that I think is like a reminder for everyone is duty. That we have duty. We have we must have a sense of duty to one another that we must, instead of being insulated in our tiny little capitalistic worlds where we have been so, attached to our creature comforts and so connected to the things that we can purchase and buy that have been numbing us to the reality that is happening outside. We need to unplug and experience that hell by learning how to look the shark in the mouth.
Mhm.
Because, there's a thing they teach you about in comedy, which is called being in the room. You have to be in the room, right? Which means you have to be able to acknowledge what's happening, what you're feeling, what's going on. And part of being in the room is not being in your head, being like really being in your body and kind of turning your head off, you know? We need to start to get to learn how to be in the room, because when we're in the room, then we can start to improvise. If we're in
Mhm.
our heads, if we're in our dreams, if we're in this world place, and world place, this in the ideas realm versus the doing realm, in that active physical realm where it's about whatever actions we can take, and recognizing the severity, we can no longer think that there's a shark on the horizon. We have to believe that there's a hungry great white shark that is coming directly at us, who's starving. And this is his one last meal. And all we can do and what we must do is fight him off. We cannot
Mhm.
swim away. We
Mhm.
must fight him off.
Mhm.
And as impossible as that is, like it is it's a great white shark, but you can punch a great white shark in the snout
Yep.
and it hurts it.
Yep. And
And
you
that
can poke
thing,
their eyes.
and you can poke their eyes. You can poke their eyes and you can punch in the snout, right? And it's like that thing is so big and full of teeth and you have no chance, but there's still a secret. There's still there's always a snout. There's always the eyes. Do you know what I mean? That exists on every big fucking fanged monster.
Yep. Yep.
And it's why the myth of David and the Goliath exists, because there's some fundamental truth that there's an Achilles heel everywhere. And we must start to believe and understand that and start to really strategically get that. And instead of becoming these, these, these victims to lie down and receive this, or allow it to happen to others, we must recognize that nobody is safe from this, and
Well,
that we
and
must.
when you talk about story, when you think about this the story element of this, that I think is so much of the problem is people are engaging this from this perspective of, well, there's so much out there. I don't know what like what to grab at, if to grab at anything and or to punch at anything, so they don't.
Right.
They won't engage with the shark. They're like, but all I know to do is to swim away.
Right.
And it's bullshit. The swimming away is done
It's
unless
it's
you
out of the picture,
yeah.
exactly.
It's like when people start to come to a place where they get that we're actually here and the cognitive dissonance is out of this, that might be too late. It's like shake yourself out of that cognitive dissonance now. I have this girl that I went to high school with, and she was a really sweet girl. Her and her sister, they're both from a working class family. They mean so much to be loving, and they were brought up with a religious background, specifically, which background that was, Catholic, Episcopal, whatever. I don't know, but I always get in these conversations. She reached out to me before the election saying, I don't know. I'm like, and for me, the answer was just so blatantly in your face, eyes, throat, fucking nose,
I know.
lungs.
I don't know. It's like, what do you mean you don't know?
Yeah, and I honestly thought that I would be able to draw some light into the room for her. When for me, it just starts with 34 fucking felonies. You know, I'm like, anybody,
Right. Right.
it's like that's the lowest bar, the lowest bar I can put out there. And these folks still didn't get that, you know, elect a criminal, get or elect a what is it, elect a clown or and get a
Elect a thug.
circus,
Yeah, elect
you
a clown and
know?
get a circus, elect a thug and get a cartel. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah, you know, but that there's so much. I think that there's like, and then prior to that, there was so much out there, and these people just don't want to follow or track all of the elements of this stuff associated with what's going on because it's a lot. I've been for the last 10 years, I have been really probably a little longer, but for the last 10 years, I have been so into this. And it started with me going down to Costa Rica thinking I was dropping out of the United States and all this stuff. And it started with a bit of the conspiracy theory esque elements of things. You know, people all of a sudden, my friend Wendy was telling me about the what is it, the Zionist Jewish is it the Rothschilds and all this stuff, and I'm learning all this stuff, you know. And
Yeah.
then after that very person who was getting me dialed into the way that the world really works and
Oh, yeah, this stuff.
the
Was she, like,
Georgia
really, like was she one of those people that's really into, like, the
the
conspiracy
Georgia
theories?
Guidestones, the Queen Eats Babies, the fucking I mean,
This is
like,
the
just
so this is, like so then this is, like, the Jewish well, the thing is, like, these rich families, like, you can't not believe they're doing crazy stuff, but the problem is then
they've shown us.
instead of but, of course, exactly, the Epstein files, but I think the thing that gets so strange is it seems like these families put out really crazy lies about themselves to, like, convince people, like, so it just makes
They're
it one
TV
everybody
too.
it throws people off the scent or something. It,
Mhm.
like, floods the market with just insanity that's so far-fetched that it, like, prevents it becomes this, like, kind of radioactive cesspool for actual inspection. You don't wanna go over there because you're like, "Oh, that's where the Jewish space lasers are," or whatever.
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah, well,
mean?
they love this is the thing. First of all, if they're accusing somebody of it, that all they're doing is projecting, right?
Always.
And you know what I mean? And they build up all of the I was thinking about this just earlier today. There's so much of this shit built up, whether it's the Queen Eats Babies and the you know, the coca, the whatever. There's so much shit built up that nobody knows, and Putin knew this. If you pile on a bunch of shit, nobody knows what the real truth is. And then the truth does not have value at all. You know? So like because of well, you say what was it, Kelly? The gal that used to be his
Kellyanne
pres
Conway?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Oh my
yes.
god. Do you remember SNL?
So that
It
well,
was so okay, the Kellyanne Conway of Kate McKinnon, they go, "Kellyanne, Kellyanne," and she'd be like, she's like a
yeah,
clown, she'd, like, fall down, it was so funny. They were so
smelly
mean to
Ann
her, but
Conway. And her own
she was
daughter doesn't love her, she got a
oh, I
fucking
love
divorce,
that.
you
Yeah, the
know?
daughter was awesome, but it was crazy to think, like, her but that makes me sad. Like, there's this I remember the clips of Kellyanne's daughter and her being like, I'm so upset that my mom's doing these horrible things and participating in this. And yet at the same time, you think that must be so heartbreaking because every child wants to love their parent.
Yeah, it's gotta be I agree with you, and we've kinda gone down this road a little bit before with some talk about my brother.
Mm.
I'm that guy that I'm like, "You know what? I'm not gonna be codependent with you, and I'm pragmatic enough, mother, father, sister, brother, family member, or other, to say enough is enough." And
She was, like, 18 is the
I
thing.
know. I
So this
know.
is the thing, but my feeling is just that that is like, it's one thing when you're an adult and you've lived through it and you've processed it and you've gotten you know what I mean? Like, you've experienced the sadness and you've gotten on the other side of it. To be 18 and there's some part of me that recognizes maybe myself and that person to recognize, like, she must be in a deeply like, it's utterly heartbreaking to
Yeah.
have a parent at that means her whole childhood, or at least probably the last 5 or 6 years, she's experiencing what is a monumental heartbreak of
Mhm.
recognizing that this person that she wanted to love as her mother is a deeply flawed and participating in evil person.
And I hope you can get to start to express that as being a reality earlier for younger people. It's like forever, like when I was growing up, or when I was really little, divorce. Your parents got divorced? Your parents are getting divorced? My God, the whole fucking town doesn't know what to do, right? And it seems like it's really it's hard. I'm not taking nothing away from how difficult things are. But I think my generation, needed to do and needs to do a better job for you guys and those that are going to come after you. I think the millennials need to pick up the pace. I think you guys will have to pick up the pace because we got to explain better that life is fucking difficult. I think that's one thing I got from my parents that at the time I really didn't hold.
I don't think that there's any misunderstanding that life is difficult. I think you'd have to convince people in our generation that life is also good because that's the thing that we haven't really been seeing. That's been like not as present. The difficulty has been very obvious. People are drowning in loan debt. Nobody has health care. They're watching their parents get deeply sick, and a lot of people's parents are dying. Now their neighbors are getting kidnapped. You don't have to convince people that life is difficult. But even this,
But in that, I'm not because I get that, right? But in that, I'm saying that like a I think there's a bridge that needs to be made between that, I mean, life is difficult and life is fun, right? That's a fair analysis of what life is. I mean, it's any different thing on any different day. But one of the things I struggle with my niece is that I don't think she can put together the concept that life, like she understands that life should be fun, but it's things have come to her that have hurt her so much. She's so caught up in that hurt that she's not making moves to do other things and to get through that and over that. And so I
people
don't
get
know.
stuck. People get stuck. Yeah,
Yeah. But
it's
but
totally
like,
true.
see, of
It's easy.
my parents' generation, dude, it was like, my dad would be like, I worked 2 fucking 40-hour week jobs for 20 years, and, you want me to come home and hug you? He was like, I mean, and it's terrible that I'm defending him at this level, but I'm like, yeah, that's exactly what I wanted. I was very hurt that he didn't have that time for me and stuff. But sometimes you just have to pick yourself up and dust yourself off and get on to the next thing. Like, right now we've been talking a little bit about offline about, you know, you being in Spain and stuff. We've been talking about, you know, the difficulties with my house purchase in Italy.
Right.
I can stay in the mode of this sucks. and I'm,
Yeah.
or I could
Yeah, I
just
see what you're
go,
saying. We do. I totally hear what you're saying. You're saying
you
basically
know?
like we have to recognize that there's a problem, and right now we are stuck. People are acting stuck, and everybody needs to fucking get off, dust yourselves off, everybody. Look the goddamn horse in the mouth, look the shark in the mouth. And I don't think we have to make this a generational thing. I actually think it's a technological thing, if I'm being completely fucking honest.
Well, be
I think that if I think that if you were being so real, I think that in your generation, the reason people aren't fucking doing things is because they're playing Candy Crush, because that's what they're fucking addicted to. It's the truth. It's like if we tracked where the dopamine was getting like taken from each of the generations, that would be it, you know?
all
It's
of it.
this, it's the phone. But this is it. When you ask yourself, what does it take to get off your ass and do something? The answer is dopamine. And what are these fucking tech companies doing? They're jacking up all their goddamn algorithms to stop us so they can take over. And
Mhm.
it's like, call it fucking out. Call it out. Let's do more fucking 2026. Let's get light bones. We have to do the social media thing. Great. Fine. But I'm going to figure out a fucking system to do the social media. And then I'm gonna, or hire somebody but I unplug, get unplugged, go out without a phone. Get your mind clear. Meditate, journal, breath work. These things we have to ice bath, ice shower. When I was doing like fucking sex work and I was like did not know how I was going to survive. Do you know how I did it? I'll tell you how. I was panicking, panicking, panicking. I didn't have my medication. I didn't know what to do. You know what I did? Ice showers. It's it's not a perfect remedy, but it helped build dopamine. If you don't have dopamine, you can use ice showers. There are ways of biohacking your brains. We're going to have to get smart about this. We're going to have to think differently. We have to recognize that we're being robbed and that it's on purpose, and that this feeling of like it's so much it's like it's on purpose.
Yeah.
It's on purpose. Zoom out. Zoom out. It's all a plan. So zoom out, and whatever you're feeling, whatever you've got going on, let's fucking spin the wheel. Spin the wheel of change. Spin that goddamn wheel. It's time to like reset our algorithms, reset our routines. Let's see what happens when we do things a little different.
Mhm. Mhm. We're a lot different.
We're a lot different. Here.
It's just it's crazy. I think that I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful for so much. I feel like right now we're at the place where we've got this house of cards and or this Jenga game, and it just keeps on piling up and piling up and piling up. And I do feel like it is gonna come tumbling down, and inevitably, no matter how it goes, I feel like it's gonna come tumbling down, and it's just gonna be what that looks like. Do all of the blocks go all over the floor, or
Right.
does it just land on the table and we get to do that reset from the perspective of, okay, so all is not lost except for that, what will be lost will be trillions of dollars, thousands and thousands, tens of thousands of lives, and about a decade of the growth of humanity, which is tragic to me because, like, I'm not getting any younger. You can see the gray coming in here that I usually keep
I
shading
know.
out. But and it
I don't know. I hope mom does. I wonder. There's a part of me that just that has to believe that it's difficult when you know about entropy. Like the natural order of the universe is entropic, right? It
Mhm.
leans towards collapse. It turn it 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 lean it's the dissolution of atoms. So to bring something together to impose order is really in the it is against it's the salmon swimming upstream, you know?
Mhm,
It is
mhm.
a Herculean feat, a
Her
Herculean I'm gonna say
you're
Hercules? Herculean? Is it Hercule Her Herculean? A Herculean feat. A
yeah,
Herculean? Yeah, okay. Herculean feat. A
yeah,
what did I say? Herculean?
I think so. It
A
sounded like a
Herculean.
salad or something.
It was
How about
beautiful.
some
Is
Euruglia in there?
yeah, I have some Heruglia and a little bit of arugula, yeah, yeah. So, it is a Herculean feat, but you know what? No one knows the future, and no one knows the future. Remember that. No one knows the future.
You're here.
No psychic, nobody. We can look, we can see those patterns, but this is why we have to be in the room. Because if we're in the room, if we're on the floor, if we're in the streets, if we are together, when that moment comes, when the opportunity comes, when the vacuum of power comes, we need to be activated. We need
Mhm,
to be ready for it. We need to be together. We need to see each other and recognize that nobody really wants this. And anybody who does has forsaken themselves so, so greatly that it is incredibly tragic for the arc of their life because there will be no coming back from this. There will be no great chapter.
mhm, yeah,
The only thing they could ever hope to find through their own incredible strife is to try to figure out how they're ever going to forgive themselves for this because it's unforgivable.
or that anybody else will forgive them. I mean, can you imagine? So, hats off to all the people that have ICE agents in their families that have been doxing them or whatever that you call it,
Right.
like, making it known that, daddy's an ICE agent. Th th I just lost my thought with all that happiness about that going on. Damn it. I'm sorry because it kinda came in on you
The
and
forgiven, it was forgiveness. We were talking about forgiveness.
yeah, 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 well, forgiveness, and that they'll never get yeah, all of these people will come to justice, and in terms of, whether like, who forgives them or who doesn't, it's a stain, it's never going to go away that they've done what they've done, they are who
Right.
they are, and they miss that and I don't know how you could do this, Michael Cohen was the first one to go down with this idiot, and then, there's a book out there, everything he touches turns to shit or something, and I just don't understand how this many people can watch, and this is reflective of our society too, can watch all this shit and, like, you have to be dumb, deaf, and blind to not see that this isn't right and let it they continue to let it go on, believe it, embrace it, or whatever, when at the end of the day, the truth always comes out.
Right.
These they're the ones that lose in the end, and the
Yeah.
fat cat at the top gets away with
And
it.
right, it's like even if you because it's beyond anything. And now that I think we're coming up towards the end of the pod, but, beyond anything, I would say that whether you find justice in the system, whether you flee like the Nazis to Brazil, you will always carry the knowledge of who you are and what you did. And no matter how much you try to suppress it, no matter how much you try to push that down, no matter how much you try to convince yourself you are just following orders, there will always be a voice inside of you, and there will always be the voice of your ancestors and those who came before you who watched what you did. And you will be haunted by the ghosts of the people who you hurt, and it
Yeah,
will follow you forever
yeah, 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 yeah.
because you have forsaken yourself.
Yeah, my I think my takeaway from this episode is that might be good to go off and like some tangents some other times, but my takeaway in general is, this new year is gonna be to even step up more. I've been to protests.
Mhm,
I need to go to more.
mhm.
I have finally, I believe, gotten myself to the point where if you're talking cuckoo from this, like, super alternative right area in my life, and if you've been a friend for, I don't care, 1, 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 years, I will make I'm gonna make it more standard that I'll make my 2 attempts to really connect with you and find a middle ground, but on the 3rd try, I'm
You're
out.
done. Right.
I'm out because I'm not
Yeah.
what we have to do is we can't not justify, but we can't, like, ratify, and I'm probably using the wrong I know I'm using the wrong words, but we can't, give any more power to, these lies.
Concede?
Yeah, concede and or yeah, to, these lies and this bullshit, I was
Right.
online today and some black guy was talking about, "I pray for Trump," in this post, "I pray for Trump because of these evil Democrats," and I was just like, w like,
Yeah.
what in the fuck are you saying?"
Right, right.
So overall, my goal is going to be to manage the burnout that you get from this. You just
Yeah.
have to. And then, but also to still be in the fight, to still be current.
Yeah. One of the things that I said that we have a system that we created because I was doing this. I've been doing this. I've been, kind of active in this since last year when he first came into office. And the system that me and my friends came up with is called 3 in and 3 out. Right. And so every month we would each find 3 action items and send them to our group chat. And then you do 3 action items. And so everybody's sharing 3 things you can do, and everybody's doing 3 things themselves. And it's like and then you could do more. Usually you do more, but if you didn't do it or you missed a month, you could just go, "I didn't make it this month." And we would meet in person and just talk about it. And it was a way of creating sustainable action where we weren't exhausting ourselves or burning ourselves out because especially in the beginning, it can really like, especially when you're really like running at it, it's like it burns you out. It exhausts you. And so, yeah, I remember one of the things that a friend of mine told me when I first started to get involved with activism was she told me, you have to take care of your mental health because you can go crazy seriously.
Yeah,
And it's true.
yeah,
Like it's a marathon, not a sprint. And but we do need to all kind of have our sense of duty, show up for each other and do more.
you're here.
And here.
Well, tomorrow, for sure, we're gonna go over the our film here, the Women on the Verge of a Nervous Breakdown, and that I think we'll have a good show there as well.
Okay, I hope so. I really like that movie.
He teased me to like, oh, he doesn't like it. I
I
don't
know.
not like it.
Okay. Okay. Love you.
All right, love you.
Oh, wait, we should do it. We should go. And that was a hullabaloo.
And so from us to you, love you.
Love you.